And we're on. Okay.
So let's take a look at the circulatory system. So section 13B is all about body systems in the invertebrate, right? Who can tell me a little bit about the circulatory system, maybe based on what you read yesterday or from previous discussions? I know when we studied the human body, we talked about the circulatory system, and it has another name. Does anybody remember another name for the circulatory system? No?
I do.
Well, what organs, what's included in the circulatory system?
Is it the cardiovascular?
Yes, very good. Cardiovascular, and what does it include? Just say it, heart and veins. Okay, very good. Okay, so we know that all vertebrates have blood. Now we're just following along. And this blood is circulating through the pumping action of the heart. So, would a vertebrate have an open or a closed circulatory system? Think about what we talked about with invertebrates. What do you guys think? Open or closed? It is closed. Why? Because the blood is constricted to the veins. Very good. Okay, so blood is important because it's going to bring food to all the cells. So even in the tips of your fingers, you have blood. You have little capillaries that need, like the tip of our finger has cells that need to be nourished, okay? If that blood supply was cut off, your finger would be no more. Not good. Okay, so the purpose of the blood is to transport oxygen and carbon dioxide. So it's transporting oxygen to the cell, taking carbon dioxide back, taking it back to be replenished. And other substances are taken to and from the cells as well. So the blood is basically, the Bible says that the blood is the lifeline of your body. Why would we say that? So if we didn't have blood, what would happen to us? What do you guys think? Jill?
Well, we wouldn't have a way to carry oxygen through our body, so.
Basically, our cells would not receive any what?
Food? Anything?
Any nutrients. They wouldn't be able to survive. Oxygen. Okay, so oxygenated blood has an abundant supply of oxygen. Deoxygenated has given most of its oxygen away and has to be taken back. So these are two of our word wall terms. Oxygenated, deoxygenated. One is rich in oxygen, one is rich in what? CO2. Good job. Okay, so now we're going to get into talking about the heart and the chambers. And your book in this section talks about 2 chambered hearts, 3 and 4. So we're going to talk about those specifically today. So in a 2 chambered heart, oh, actually we're not there yet. So blood is always pumped in one direction. We're not to the different ones yet. And it is pumped through arteries. So the blood is carried away from the heart by arteries and is carried back to the heart by veins. Are we on the second page yet?
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and flip the page. Now we're going to talk about the different chambered hearts. And I know some of you, when you were doing your group work yesterday, were kind of confused about why 2 chambered, why 3, why 4. As humans and mammals, how many chambers do we have? Josh? 4. We have 4 chambers. So we're going to start with the 2 chambered heart. And in this, and we're going to do a graphic organizer on the board together, so don't be overwhelmed by all the words. So in a 2 chambered heart, you're going to have reptiles or fish. Oh, sorry. So fish have 2 chambered, reptiles and amphibians have 3, and birds and mammals have 4. And we'll get to this picture in just a minute. Let's do, go ahead, you're going to need your notebook for this, so go ahead and find just the next page in your notebook. And we are going to talk about the different chambers. If I can find my notes.
So what do you want us to label it?
This, I want you to label heart chambers. Here it is. All right, so everybody should have just work through this together in your notebook. So we have, you're just gonna copy down what I put. So we have chambers. We have examples. Works. You could just label this heart chambers. So I thought of a way to make this a little bit easier because the diagram to me, when I first looked at it, I'm like, this looks really confusing. So this will help us to understand that we'll take the number of chambers, we'll do some examples, and then how it's actually working. So you need to put chambers for the first column, examples, and how it works. We're just going to make a little chart. So let's start with the two-chambered heart. Look back in your notes. What were some vertebrate examples of a two-chambered heart? Everybody look back in your notes. Kristen.
Fish.
Fish, and was that the only example?
Yes.
Okay. How does it work? So we know we only have two chambers. So we have one chamber receives the blood. So you write this down. And one chamber pumps blood to the body. Okay, so we have one chamber receiving, one chamber pumping to the rest of the body, but since we're talking about fish, they're kind of unique. Does a fish have lungs? No. What do they have?
Gills.
Gills, that's how they breathe, okay? So when the blood is being pumped out to the rest of the body, Nathan, it has to go to the gills to be oxygenated. That's an extra step, so we're going to add that. So it is pumped to gills to be oxygenated. So that's a two-chambered heart. That's how it works. Any questions on this? Yeah, but it's fine. Okay, if you need to go with Miss Bray, you can quietly be dismissed. You'll just have to get this later. So whoever is helping with music, you can just leave your stuff on your desk. Okay, so does everybody have two-chambered heart? Okay, let's look at three-chambered heart next. We're going to have to skip way down. What were some examples of three-chambered? What were some vertebrates that we can list? Josh?
Reptiles.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes.
Right.
Adult amphibians.
Okay. Okay, so these vertebrates have three chambers. How does it work? Does anybody want to take a guess or a stab at this? Some of you probably read this yesterday. Does anybody remember how a three-chambered heart works? And it's okay if you don't. Nobody? Okay, glad we're doing this. All right. So we have one chamber collects the oxygenated blood. I'm just going to put O2 blood from the lungs. Another chamber. Just a second. Collects the deoxygenated blood from the body. And then it's mixed. So these two bloods are mixed. chambered. So we have one chamber collecting the oxygenated blood, one chamber collecting the deoxygenated blood. So when I say O2 and CO2, that's just oxygenated, deoxygenated blood. Then they're mixed together at the bottom of those chambers and sent out to the rest of the body. Logan, I need for you to write this down, okay? So we just have an extra little step here. And I'm going to show you a diagram when we finish this, and it'll kind of make a little bit more sense, hopefully. So we have one chamber oxygenated, one chamber collecting deoxygenated. They're mixed and then sent out to the rest of the body. Yes?
Is 4 the most, like, the biggest number of chambers you can have on?
Yeah. And I'm going to show you how 4-chambered heart is the best, because, I'll tell you in just a second. So God created us to have 4 chambers, and it really does help with the amount of oxygen that is being sent out to our body, and I'll tell you in just a second. So everybody has 2 chambers. Is everybody thumbs up if you're ready to move on to 4? Are you ready? Almost? Okay. All right, 4-chambered heart. Give me some examples. Kristen. Humans, mammals, and what? There was one other example. Just say it out loud.
Birds.
Birds. So we could say, okay. I'm going to be running out of room soon. All right, in a 4-chambered heart, you have one side of the heart pumps oxygenated blood. Other side pumps blood to the lungs. Okay, and then one important thing to remember, I don't know if you guys can see this, the blood never mixes. I know that's really sloppy, I'm sorry. Okay, so a unique thing about a 4-chambered heart is you have one side doing a job, the other side doing a totally separate job, and those remain separate. You never have the mixing of blood. How do you think this would be an advantage? How would a 4-chambered heart be an advantage from a 3? Do y'all have any ideas? Why would it be an advantage to not have your blood, the oxygenated and the deoxygenated blood mixing? Why do 4-chambered hearts give us an advantage? No ideas?
No, not really. I have no idea.
Think about oxygenated blood versus deoxygenated blood, okay? Yes,
Does it, like, help us move quicker?
it does. It gives us more oxygen to our cells. I'm from the South. To our cells, okay? So it gives us more oxygen. Sometimes my Southern accent likes to creep out. You should hear my mom, she's very Southern. So that is the chambered hearts in a nutshell, okay? Fish, 2-chambered. Then we go to 3. One unique thing about 2-chambered in the fish, they have gills instead of lungs. Does anybody have any questions about this? And I'm going to show you a quick diagram and show you the path that the blood takes in a 2, 3, and 4-chambered heart. But we have the advantage with the 4-chambered heart. Why do you think God designed us with this advantage? What do you think, Nathan? Why do you think God gave us this advantage of a 4-chambered heart? Any ideas?
Wait, what was the question?
Why do you think God designed humans to have the 4-chambered heart, not the 2? Not the 3?
Because they don't need that much oxygen.
What do you think?
So we can be more productive.
Yeah, so we can be who we are, so we can move, so we can do the things that He planned for us to do, okay? We are gonna do a lab in chapter 13, probably not next week since we're doing the frog dissection lab, but we'll do a lab with live fish. We are not going to kill the fish. But this is something that's really cool that I've done before, and you are watching the fish breathe, so you're watching the number of gill flaps based on the temperature of the water. It's pretty cool. I've done it in the past. One year we almost killed a fish, so we got the water too cold. I think we brought it back. It was laying on the bottom, and the water was ice cold, so we'll do that again. But that's something fun to look at as well. So, can you erase this for me?
What kind of fish?
It was a beta. Beta fish. Okay, so very quickly, I want to show you the heart diagrams, and then I'm going to give you the rest of the class time to work on your group project.
Is it for homework and we don't finish it? I
No,
know
it
it's
is not.
Wednesday.
It is not.
Oh, it's Wednesday.
We are not going to get to the respiratory system today. This is enough information for today. So as soon as our little birds go away, they're very excited to see you.
Hello, babies.
And their name is Phillips.
Okay, so let's take a look at this diagram. Based on what you know, and based on what we talked about, which one is the two-chambered heart? Somebody besides Josh. Sam, come up here and point to the two-chambered heart. Come on up.
Okay.
Very good. Where's our four-chambered heart? Logan, come point to it.
You don't have to guess. Do
Very good, very good. Okay, so this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. So let's look at 2 very quickly. So you remember 2 said 1 chamber in, 1 chamber out. So the blood's coming in. Oh, and remember, the book said we don't have blue and red blood in our body, right? This is just a diagram to show us, because which one would be the deoxygenated blood, blue or red? Blue. Okay, so we have the blood coming in, going in one chamber, leaving out the other. These are capillaries, okay? So we have our 3-chambered heart. Now, this is your first chamber, second chamber, third is at the bottom. This is where the blood is mixing and then going out to the rest of the body, okay? 4-chambered, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is like our heart. We have one side deoxygenated, one side oxygenated. They never mix, but here we have the mixing, okay? Any questions?
What happens when you have a heart attack?
Some of your arteries are clogged and the blood's not able to be pumped out. So a lot of times they'll go in and do what's called a stent. Well, they'll actually, like if a blood vessel is collapsed, they'll do a stent to raise it to help the blood to flow through. If you have a lot of blockage, then you have to have like, don't they take veins out of your leg? And I think they take veins out of your leg and put them in your heart to repair the veins and arteries. So, okay. Let's finish up, or you're probably not going to finish, but I'm going to go ahead and give you your group packets again. So everybody knows their job, right? From yesterday, everybody knows what they're doing, except for you, and I'll explain. And you're going to have this folder. So here's you can go ahead and get started. These notes, guys, can just go with your notes. And then you need to put up your flashcards as well. So here's your packet from yesterday, and here's yours.
Can I go put this in the bin? Because I feel like
I'll put it.
Thank you.
So we have about 10 minutes to work on your group assignments from yesterday. Your fact finder, vocabulary scout, what else do we have? Quiz maker, and what was the last one? Opinion. You have 10 minutes. If you don't finish, this is not for homework, we'll just continue tomorrow. Okay?
But let's see. I got it already. That's mine.